Hello everyone, Neil back once again with another streaming review for you. And today I'm going to be taking a look at the season finale of Season 3 of The Mandalorian. So it's Episode 8, otherwise known as Chapter 24, The Return. And spoiler alert, yes, I will be spoiling the poodoo out of this episode. So you've been warned. Alright, moving on. This episode was directed by Rick Famuyiwa, just as he had directed the previous episode as well. And it's a nice big wrap-up of everything. You know, it's a Deus Ex Machina kind of wrap-up here. But there just wasn't really any surprises, nothing too interesting, crazy, nothing anyone's going to be talking about for days like last season's finale with Deep Fake Luke. So, it's still a good episode, though. Now, story-wise, it's picking up where Din Djarin was captured after the ambush by Moff Gideon and his troopers that have Beskar armor, and they also killed Paz Vizsla, the heavy Mando, thanks to the 3 Praetorian guards. And so now Din Djarin has to save himself, actually. I mean, everyone was saying, who's going to save Din Djarin? Well, he saves himself, but also Grogu helps out in the IG-12 unit. Meanwhile, Axe Woves tells the fleet to evacuate everyone to the other ships and to leave him to pilot the capital ship, and he looks like he's going down with the ship. It's all in flames. It's under heavy fire by the TIE fighters. Mando goes through this gauntlet of these red shields like we saw at the end of the Phantom Menace. So same kind of thing. It's almost like a video game where it's like, okay, next level. All right, R5-D4, hit the next one and the next one. And R5-D4 does a good job, although he is attacked by mouse robots, and it's nice to see familiar droids like mouse robots again. Din and Grogu wind up discovering Gideon's clones, and one of them wakes up. He opens his eyes suddenly. They wind up escaping the room, but they also destroy it, so Din causes all the clones to be destroyed, so no more duplicates of Moff Gideon. He's the only one now. The Armorer also rejoins Bo-Katan's group with reinforcements, and there's a huge battle that ensues there. Now, Moff Gideon actually tells Din Djarin that Grogu's DNA would have been used to add force powers to these clones. So you can imagine Moff Gideon had not only clones of himself, but the fact that they had the ability to use the Force, which is interesting. I guess you can do that. I mean, it makes sense to take the midichlorians out of someone and put it in someone else. I guess. I mean, why not? This is adventure fantasy. Almost anything goes. I mean, let's face it, So why not? And so Din, of course, fights Gideon, and the Praetorian guards show up, and they give Din a lot of trouble, but Grogu comes in to save him. And then the IG-12 unit is knocked down, and Grogu has to try to escape the Praetorian guards, and they almost get him, but then Din Djarin saves him, and then Bo-Katan breaks off from the battle and attacks Moff Gideon. So while Bo and Moff Gideon fight, Mando eventually kills the 3 guards with help from Grogu, who uses the Force to keep their weapons away from them and stuff like that. So they wind up saving each other, and Gideon actually manages to destroy Bo-Katan's dark saber, and he's about to kill Bo-Katan when Din saves her. Axe Woves is still in the capital ship, and it's on fire, and it's heading right towards the base. So he's going to ram the base and destroy the base with this ship. He manages to get out of there in time, blasting off on his rocket pack, and when the ship crashes into the base, it winds up killing Moff Gideon. But Bo-Katan, Din Djarin, and Grogu all survive thanks to Grogu basically using the Force to keep the flames off of them. So after it's all said and done, there's a nice big celebration, and they go relight the Great Forge so that Mandalore can be back to normal again, basically. Din Djarin winds up adopting Grogu so that he may become his official Mandalorian apprentice, because there are rules. And everything seems to be good again. This seems to be the return that they're speaking of, the return of Mandalore, the proper state of Mandalore, I'd say. And, the planet can just be the way it was before the Purge. And Mando winds up visiting Carson Teva, looking for work, and he spots an assassin droid's head and winds up rebuilding IG-11 and makes him the Marshal of Navarro. And Grief Karga gives him a cabin outside of town. And that's really how the episode ends. It's just, Din Djarin and Grogu just chilling at a cabin. Grogu's playing with a frog. He's using the Force to lift him up. And then he drops him into the water. And that's it. And then it ends on a little spotlight, like a Looney Tunes cartoon. It just ends like, that's all, folks. And that's it for season 3. Okay, it was fine. It was good. It's just not that interesting, surprising, not impactful. No one's really talking about it online too much because it was not like last year with Deepfake Luke, right? I mean, the end of season 2 was a big, big deal, and I think they knew that. But it's still a satisfying ending, I thought, to this season. It's visually wonderful, of course. I mean, we're going to expect that, all the best, visuals and effects and music and sound effects and all that stuff. Loads and loads of action here. Great stuff. Not boring for a second, that's for sure. But the story really made us guess and wonder about still a few, unanswered questions, like who were the spies that they were referring to in the previous episode? It was called The Spies. Who were the spies? Because it made us think that it was maybe one of the Mandos that was going to betray them, maybe the Armorer or Axe Woves or someone like that was going to turn on them and join the Imperials. It seemed almost obvious that was what they were going for, but that was actually a red herring. It turned out to be no. Then we're it's a red herring for the audience in this case. Just that idea, didn't happen there. So yeah, really no surprises. In this case, we do see the mythosaur briefly as he opens his eyes, but I was kind of hoping we'd see like a a Godzilla moment, and maybe they'll save that for the next season. But what can you do? They just kind of tease the mythosaur here. So yeah, I mean, I kind of wish we got maybe 9 or 10 episodes here in season 3. I mean, just about every episode was good. The one with Christopher Lloyd and Jack Black and Lizzo was probably my least favorite, but it wasn't terrible or anything. I just thought it was like, meh, not that good, not that memorable, and a little maybe too many familiar faces kind of take you out of it, So I can't wait for the 4th season. But this ending actually felt like the real end of the whole series, though. The way it ended, it just seemed like, we don't need to do anything more. On to Ahsoka now, I guess, right? And the Acolyte, or whatever's coming down the pipes here. But with Ahsoka, we'll probably get some crossovers here with other things, although Ahsoka looks like it's gonna keep on, with the Rebels type of story, looking for Ezra, and then also, showing some of the more Timothy Zahn characters and things like that. So that'd be cool, to see that. Looking forward to that this summer. But for The Mandalorian Season 3, it's been a very interesting up and down roller coaster ride for some fans online, and in terms of the viewership, it's gone down and up and down and up. I hope this last episode, a lot of people tuned in, even though it wasn't the best episode. It was very, Deus Ex Machina, wrap it up in a nice bow, very Return of the Jedi, quite frankly. Just wrap it up. So they did that well. It's just kind of wish that we had a few more surprises, and then kind of, since we've gotten that in the past, and we've gotten all these things to talk about, like, oh, it's a big deal that happened at the very end. Well, they didn't really make it a big deal at the end. Moff Gideon seems to be dead. The Darksaber's gone. Bo-Katan is, in charge, and Mandalore is going back to normal. And that was really the point of this whole season, was to really bring Bo-Katan to the forefront and bring Mandalore back to its, his former glory before the Purge. So that seemed to be really the point of this season. And that's not disappointing to me. I thought that was cool. I thought it would have been nice to have a little cameo for Boba Fett or something. But again, that's just fan talk and fan wishes, I guess. Maybe next season, who knows? They could bring back Morrison for that. But yeah, so for now, I'm just going to give the season finale an 8 out of 10. It was darn good. Could have been a touch better, maybe. A few more surprises, but never boring, always fun, great action, great characters. And that's it for me, guys. That's all for the Mandalorian review. I thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, may the Force be with you. Peace.